Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how reality is what you say it is. There are no facts and there is no fiction. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from one of you that said, Tom, there are those that say the 3D world is an illusion. And so this means I'm manifesting an illusion, I guess. This is what I wanted to ask you, because then the spiritual teacher Neville Goddard says there is no fiction, that imagination's the only reality. And I'm just confused. What am I manifesting if it's all, what's real and what is not real? Well, guys, we're going to unpack this today and more. Here's what I want to say, is that Neville's right. There is no fiction, but there are no facts either. There's no fiction and there's no facts. There's just ultimate reality, that one energy, that one love, that one God, right? That one unmanifested energy or power that we call God, that we call the quantum field, right? That we call the matrix, the divine matrix, right? Or source energy. There's just that. Everything else is a manifestation of that energy. So it's really not a question of what's real versus what's unreal. It's more of what's real and what's manifested. Hear this, because you decide what's real. Remember, your consciousness, pure energy, pure positive energy, in the 3D world that you see, that you perceive, comes from you. Everybody, everything, the universe, everything comes from you, comes from your consciousness, comes from within you. So what is reality? What's real? It is what you say it is. How? Through what you're thinking, feeling, believing in every moment. And it's always changing, right? And there are infinite realities that you can imagine, that you can assume, that you can think into being. Right? And they're all happening right now, right? There is no past, there is no future. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So there is no fiction, as Neville Goddard says, but there are no facts, right? Imagination is the only reality. But remember, that includes the 3D world. That includes your dreams at night, right? Just like when you dream, those realities that you're visiting are just as real, if not more real, than the 3D world that you're imagining while you're awake. You're imagining both of them. And they're both coming from within you. Just like in a dream, when you're dreaming, it feels real. The people, the things, feel that they're outside of you, right? It almost feels like you reach out and touch it. They're very vivid, right? And then you wake up and realize, oh, it was just a dream. But it's the same thing in waking reality, right? This is all a dream, but when you wake up from the waking dream, you realize that it's all coming from within you. It's the same thing, right? So there is only that one source, one substance, one energy, one love. Everything else is a manifestation of that one, of God. So it's really not a question about what's real versus unreal. For you, it's a question of what do you want? What do you decide is real? Meaning, what do you decide is manifested reality? What do you decide is just pure potential? Because all that energy is. It's all just pure potential. And then you get to decide what's real for you, right? The only distinction to be made is what aspect of that one reality, that one God, that one energy, that one love, are you seeing, perceiving, and receiving, allowing, creating, or in other words, manifesting in 3D reality, right? Remember, when you look at reality, you're looking as reality. It's coming from you and through you, right? And it's perception, it's seeing, it's receiving, it's allowing. All of that is what we call manifesting because it's part of you. You stream it all. You're the writer, director, editor, actor. You're the stage, you're the film crew, you're the screen, you're the space, you're all of it in the movie of life, right? This is big. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So we have that 0.001%, which I've talked about in other videos, but we're going to unpack it today. That's manifested, seen reality. That's the 3D reality, you, your body, and what you see around you, right? That's perceived. And then there's this whole 99.99999% of the unmanifested or unseen reality. And the 100% is ultimate reality. That's you. You are whole or one with that ultimate reality. You are 100% ultimate reality. Do you hear this? Right? You're mostly potential. And then your manifested body and everything else is that 0.0001%. Right? That's why everyone says you have a lot of potential. Everyone does. It's not just specific people. We all have a lot of potential. In fact, we have 99.99999% of potential to be, do, or have whatever we want it to be or do or have, right? Whatever we want to perceive. But that's all reality, and you're one with it. Remember, the universe, the 3D world, yourself, that energy, that God energy, all of it is holographic, which means that in any part of that whole contains the whole of infinity. And it's non-local, which means it's everywhere. So when you pray, when you say thank you, even if it's a little, what you call a little prayer or a little gratitude, that gratitude is everything and it's everywhere at the same time. That's how powerful you are. But on the other hand, when you fear something, when you're frustrated, when you're irritated, that even if it's just for a moment, a little bit, that irritation's everywhere, that frustration's everywhere, and it's everything at the same time. That's the power you have, right? A desire, or your desires. A desire is a non-physical experience from a parallel or alternative reality where a version of you is already experiencing it as a manifested reality in that dimensionally larger reality. Because you ask, you go, well, what about my desires then? Are they illusions? Or are they real? Or what are they? That's what they are. Your desires is a non-physical experience. It's a feeling. Non-physical is a feeling from a parallel or alternative reality where a version of you is already experiencing it. A version of there's a manifest, part of that potential is manifested. And for that you that's experiencing it, that's their 0.0001%, right? You're over here. To that person, to that alternative version of you, you're in that 99.99999% because they can't perceive you. Right? That's what's going on here. That dimensionally larger reality. That it's a non-physical experience. That's all desire is, right? And it's going on right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't desire it. You can't imagine, you can't think of, you can't assume anything that doesn't already exist in an alternative reality that doesn't already exist on some plane. Otherwise, you would never desire it or never be able to imagine it if it didn't exist. And if it wasn't already yours, if there wasn't a part of you already living it out. Remember, we're all one, there's no separation. So if you're feeling a desire, that means you're living that desire. Not in this reality, but you will be as you focus on it, as you put your attention on it, as you perceive it, right? That's big. So let's hit this a little bit more. That dimensionally larger you, in other words, that multidimensional you, you're a multidimensional being, right? You exist everywhere, in all time, all the time. Right? In all of you, right? And that dimensionally larger you is already enjoying your desired reality. Hear this, and you feel it as a desire. That's why. I spoke to this in other videos, but I want to really hit it again because it's such a big point. These are your desires, or when you even imagine something, imagining and desire are spillovers from other realities. All realities are crossing and spilling over into each other. So when you feel a desire, that's a reality that you're living, and it feels like a desire to you, right? Because there's a part of you already living that. So you yearn for it, you long for it from this reality, right? It's a spillover, they're all crossing, right? You can only desire and imagine something that's already yours. Otherwise you couldn't do it. So that's the amazing thing. These realities are all spilling over. So when you're shifting, when you're thinking something different, when you're assuming something different, when you're believing something different, in other words, when you change identities, when you become something different, you have a different concept of yourself, you're shifting realities in that moment. And then you're going to see some weird stuff happen, right? That weird stuff that's happening around you, things like you would never expect, or that looks odd. We just take it for coincidence or synchronicities, and we write it off as just strange. That's you, that's the scenery changing, right? That's the scenery around you. That's the scene changing. That's you shifting realities. The feeling of desire only indicates you are not fully aligned with it within. That's all that desire indicates. The feeling of desire means you're not aligned with that reality that other part of you is experiencing. Otherwise, you'd be living it. You would merge with it, right? You would shift realities and merge with that other larger part of you. Do you hear that, right? The feeling of desire only indicates you're not fully aligned with it within. If it was out of reach or impossible, you wouldn't even be able to desire to imagine. Because you asked me, well, are there any desires out of reach? Is there anything impossible? Well, no. Because if you can even ask that question, then the answer's itself. Nothing's impossible, right? If you can imagine a desire, and it can't be out of reach. It couldn't be impossible. Or you wouldn't be able to desire or imagine it. Isn't that cool? So creating your desired reality is about shifting to your desired reality. Or creating your own reality is about shifting to your desired reality. All right, well, let's take it a little further. When you embody and immerse yourself in a new identity, in other words, new concept of yourself. Remember, we get stuck on, well, Tom, how do I how do I change my beliefs? How do I become a new person? These beliefs seem so hard to change, and I know they're hiding somewhere in the subconscious, and I can't get at them, and I don't know why I'm acting like this or why I believe this. Remember, beliefs are not hiding anywhere. They're demonstrating themselves when you look in your reality. What you're believing is what you're living. And so you can change that anytime. You can change everything in that moment. And because there are no facts and there's no fiction, right? There's no such thing as real in that sense, right? What's real is the potential within you. And what you believe, what you assume is what you live, what you get to create. So those beliefs can change. You can just go back and say, I believe none of it, and create an entirely new identity, right? You are reality or consciousness, right? So when you embody and immerse yourself in a new identity, you enter a new reality, a new universe, right? There's infinite numbers of realities or universes, right? And as you persist in this new version of yourself, that reality becomes your dwelling place, right? And you go, well, Tom, how do I do that? Believe something new. Think something different, assume something different. That's how you do it, and you change in that moment. Why doesn't it seem that we don't realize that reality? Because we don't occupy it. We shift back, right? We start looking at 3D reality and wondering why things haven't changed, when in fact they are changing, but it's imperceptible to your 3D senses, right? And remember, it remains imperceptible until it's perceptible. Right? But here's the thing. If you keep looking for it, you're going to keep finding that you're going to keep finding that you won't find it. Right? Because you're looking as reality. So you can't possibly, if you're looking as the light, you can't find that light. Right? You've got to assume it. You've got to be it. Right? You are reality. You are consciousness. But as you persist in that becomes your dwelling place. The scenery changes. You're bending reality now. The 3D world must yield to your new state of being. Must. The mirror, the reality mirror must reflect who you're being now as you change your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, or in other words, your state of being within, right? You are reality. You are consciousness. Therefore, you are the outside world. A change in self, a change in you, is equal to a change in the outside world. That's the key, right? We keep looking for the change out there, but the change happens in there, and then you're going to see the out there, but you're one with it. So as you look for it, you can't find it because you can only create the feeling of absence of it. When you're looking for it, you can't find, this is what a lot of the spiritual, Abraham Hicks says this, you cannot find what is lost. If you believe something's lost, you can't find it. If you believe you're looking for something, you can't find it. because you believe you're looking for it, right? You've got to move to finding it, to being it, to having it, right? When we say it's all you, we're not kidding you. You know that expression, it's all you? Well, it really is all you. It's all coming from within you, right? The truth, what is the truth? It's your inner concept of yourself and your identity. That's what's real. What's real is the concept you decide of yourself, because based on that concept, based on that identity, based on your beliefs, your assumptions, your feelings, all of that creates your reality, or in other words, creates your truth, right? Or in other words, what you're going to perceive, see, and receive and manifest in 3D reality, right? That's big. So that's why it doesn't make sense to look for your manifestations outside, because they're within you. You're streaming that reality as you're looking. You're looking as real. Rather feel it real within, and it will come to you. Because if you can feel it real, it will be real. Remember, what's real is within you. That's what's real. That's why Neville Goddard and all the others say imagination is the only reality. Because that is the only thing that, quote, is real. It's that one energy. Everything else is a certain mix of vibration and frequency and manifestation of that one energy, right? Waiting, frustration, impatience, urgency, all of that type things, right? And you express some of that. All of that implies you're not identified with your new reality, so you can't see it. You can continue to see that 0.0001% that reflects your frustration, that reflects your impatience, that reflects your urgency, or that strong wanting, right? Remember, we talked about this, right? What's the difference between the conviction that it's already yours, that your desires are done, and wanting it? Well, remember, wanting, it's not that you want it in a different way. Once you move to fulfillment, once you move to the knowing it's done, it doesn't mean you don't want it anymore. It means you want it from a state of fulfillment rather than a state of lack. Just like we talked about the concert tickets. You want to manifest going to a concert. And so the tickets dropped on your lap. Now you got the tickets. You still want to go to the concert, but it's no longer coming from a state of desperation, from a state of want, from a state of lack, from a state of thinking you're not going. It now comes from the conviction that you got the tickets and you're going. That's what we're talking about, right? Desire. So it's about moving from desire to gratitude for already being and having it. It moves you there immediately. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Spirit. Right? Thank you, inner being. Thank you, higher me. Whoever you want to thank, remember, it's that God power. It's all you anyway. Right? Thank, move to it immediately. As you look at 3D reality, you are looking at the past, right? Who you were and where you were. So you're looking at the past. You're looking at who you were and where you were, not who you are and where you are now. Okay, so as you shift realities, which you're doing in every moment, when you shift, when you look around, you're looking at the past. That's no longer reflective of who you are right in this moment or where you are in this moment. It's all the past. But as you persist in that dwelling place, in that new state, the 3D world starts forming, starts coalescing around your new state of being. Right? Look as the new reality, and everything becomes evidence of who you are now. Look as the new reality. And when you see the past, when you see the remnants of who you were and where you were, right? There is no here and there, and there is no now and then, right? It's all now, and it's all here. But as you look around, look at that as evidence. Look at everything, all events, everything that comes up in 3D reality as evidence of who you are now, of where you are now. Because you're going, well, that's no longer me. That's the past. That's powerful. I've talked about that before. So in Scripture, in Isaiah 65:24, one of the most powerful verses, I think, in the Bible, it really represents this idea of one with God, one with that energy. And the idea that the infinite possibilities, they're infinite, and the realities are infinite, and the alternative versions of yourself are infinite. So let's read this. Before they call, in other words, before you ask or desire, I will answer. It is fulfilled. And while they're still speaking, I will hear. Ooh, this is big. So before they call, before you even ask, the answer's already there. Before you even desire it, it's already fulfilled. Why? Because you're one with all of it. It all comes from you, through you. And it all is happening right now. There's infinite yous, infinite versions of yourself, infinite realities already living out your desires. So they're all fulfilled right now, right? And while they're still speaking, I will hear. That's powerful, that second part. What does that mean? That means as you continue to persist in your wish fulfilled, or as you continue to doubt and fear, that higher you is still listening and still listening to you. And so you're still creating reality as you move, as you speak, as you persist. That's big, right? You're still desiring or feeling fulfilled. Either you're still desiring it, assuming you don't have it, or you're still feeling fulfilled. But either way, I will hear while they're still speaking. That's so powerful. That one verse summarizes reality creation. It summarizes all the laws of assumption, of laws of vibration, frequency, all of it's right here in that one quote. That's powerful, right? Remember, supply equals demand. The answer equals the prayer. Desire equals fulfillment. So when you desire something, you can know that when you imagine your desire, or you feel your desire, that fulfillment's right there as well, right? They can't exist apart, right? So how do you pray? That's why all the spiritual greats say it's a prayer of gratitude and preparation, right? Gratitude because it's already yours. Preparation because you're going to prepare yourself to receive it in 3D. Right? It's already yours, but you're going to prepare yourself, right? It's gratitude and preparation, receiving your desire, right? While they're still speaking, I will hear. That's why it's a prayer of gratitude and preparation, because your inner state is still forming that reality. You're still perceiving that higher you is still listening, right? So you've got to move to gratitude and prepare to receive your good. Allow it in. In other words, get to the state of allowing, right? Very powerful. That is really what we're talking about. That's how reality is. That's how reality is what you say it is. That there are no facts and there is no fiction. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. You can follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful. You can join our group on Facebook at the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors. You can follow us at Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron. And you can always visit our website at tomcaron.com or besomethingwonderful.com. Guys, with great love, with great gratitude, with awesome light, your light that's shining on me and mine shining on you. See you soon.